Okay, I left my tops a little longer. I've already cut this one to length, but you don't have, say, you don't have a 12 inch a chop saw that will cut 12 inches across and 3 inches deep. Let's say, like me, I did this one completely by hand, and I'm going to show you how I did it. I'm going to use a knife wall, which is something you'll get used to if you keep following the videos. You'll hear me talk about a knife wall all the time. So I'm going to take my length now off this one here. So everything, this has been cut to length, every other piece now. My wellboard and my aprons are going to be cut to this one piece. So I'm going to take off the minimum from this end so that I can take off the maximum from that end. I'm going to make a knife mark here. The reason I use a knife mark is it's absolutely definitive. I'm looking along this length here, and these two marry up perfectly. There is no gap between them, so I know we're straight. So I'm going to use this as my straight edge. I've already sighted down this for straightness, so I know I'm straight. A good square, you can't get by without a good accurate square, so get the best square you can. This is a combination square. Slide up to that little nick. I've got the nick, I slide my knife into it, slide up to it, and squeeze and lock as much as I can. A very light pass here, very, very light, and then I can go heavier, and now I can go as heavy as I like and it won't slip. This is a Stanley knife. This is not the usual Stanley knife. It's a wonderful knife. You'll really love owning one of these. So I square that knife wall, then I'm going to go onto the edge here. So I go into my knife cut, slide my square up to it. Now because I registered my first square edge against here, I now go to this edge. So I always use the same registration faces the whole time. And we're going to get into exactness about how you lay out your face edge and your faces later on in our offerings, but right now this is your workbench, and this is the quickest, easiest way to get you going. You can see I go heavier and heavier with each pass. Start very lightly, switch over. This will guarantee this edge being square. It cannot not be square. And my knife has come exactly on the same edge as this one, so we're ready to go. Just to define my knife wall a little bit deeper on the top here, I go in like this. This gives me a step down to guide my saw against. Just flick that, like that. And now we can run the saw. I'm just using, this saw's probably 90 years old. I sharpen my own saws. We'll be doing some videos on saw sharpening that'll knock your socks off later. So I'm going across the top, watch my line there. Generally I saw just a slight amount out of square so that I can plane down to that knife line. Now I've gone in a little bit, it's not likely to deviate. This is my power stroke. This is real woodworking. Back across the top again here. there. Careful you don't break the corner off here. Gently, gently. And there's my laminated section. Let's test this. I usually try and break this. It'll break close to the glue line, but look where it broke. Again, in the middle. I'm trying to break it on the glue line, which shows not one of them has broken on the glue line, which shows the strength of this PVA glue. This is a no-nonsense PVA glue. So I've got to plane up the end grain, and it's easier to do it now than when it's on the finished bench. Stand it on end, down on the ground should I say, and then bring this in to you. I've got a knife wall on this side. I don't know if you can see it here. You can see I planed slightly out of square. I saw cut slightly out of square, so that when I plane, I can plane right up to that knife line, and I'll show you how we do that. Even though this is spruce, this is really very heavy now, and okay. I've got my plane set fairly shallow. I don't want to take too much off. I'm planing down the face, but I'm careful not to go past this edge here with my cutting edge, because it'll break, it'll fracture. And I've gone right up to that knife wall. I don't actually need to check this for square, because it's automatically square. The knife wall guarantees it. While I'm here, I'm just going to break the edge just a little bit. And then I flip over. Like this. You can see how nice and clean this surface is now. Plane number 4, this does not have a thick iron in it. It's not a heavyweight plane. You don't need them. This will do all that you need. And there is my end. Nice pristine surface. Now I'm going to offer it back to the other piece and do the same at the other end, but mark it directly off the second bench top.